Okay, hello everyone. This is my one and only broadcast from Mexico. I apologize. The sound quality might not be as good as usual because I'm not having my expensive microphone with me. I hope it's still understandable. So, this is about the comet, that magical comet which is appearing right with the solar eclipse. Hopefully, we can see it by naked eye. It's possible. This particular comet has outbursts which cannot be predicted. Kind of, they call it gyrovolcanic, which means there's geysers which, when they shoot up, the comet brightens by the hundredfold or even more. So this might be happening. We hope for it to get a really spectacular sighting on this coming Monday when the solar eclipse will be happening. So let's get first a little bit into the history of this comet. It's a periodic comet, as you can see here from the Wikipedia page. It returns every 71 years, and it was discovered in 1812 by Jean-Louis Pons, and then lost again, as often happens with comets, as they go out so far into the solar system, out into the universe, that they are no more visible. And then it was rediscovered in 1883, and we get into this a little more in detail. The interesting thing is that this next perihelion, which means the closest passage this comet has with the sun, will be on April the 21st. Now, why is this important? This is important, and I say this already right now for several reasons. That is the same day, actually within less than an hour of the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, which is the big one of this year, as I mentioned many times. This is really the one which is giving the basic frequency of what's happening in 2024, which is that great renewal on one end, but also the big shifts and changes which are attached to that in terms of shifting the frequency on this planet. So that comet actually is dead on conjunct the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction on April the 21st. There's a few more things on that day, and I will do an extra video on that when I'm back home. There is the first of 3 Chiron returns in the new world chart, in the chart from July the 4th, 1776, which really laid the foundation for this whole new epoch to be initiated. Yes, we come out of that infancy now into the maturity. That's why the American nation is so centrally important to what is going right now. So the first of 3 Chiron conjunctions within hours of that Jupiter-Uranus conjunction and the comet being closest to Earth. Also, and this is yet another really interesting coincidence, and we get to this a bit more. Juno, the asteroid of partnership, of working together as a team, of bonding, closing shoulders with all the other people you are resonating with. Juno will have its station to start moving forward again, also actually just one day later. So it is exactly all in that same resonance band, and believe it or not, 2 days later, then Mercury turns direct again with those degrees, 23 degrees. This time it will be Scorpio. That means opposing the Jupiter, Uranus, and the comet's position. That is where the moon will be when Mercury turns direct. So all points towards that kind of turnaround energy between the 21st and the 25th of April. So still a little bit to come. So I want to say, those of you who have big expectations for the solar eclipse, yes, it is a big event. If you're particularly able to see the full eclipse, even better. It's a time for introspection and for really imagining the wonderful things that can manifest on this planet. And this eclipse definitely, I mean, it has been promoted big times to certainly it's absolutely it's okay. It has been promoted, and it is a big event. It is really something which will change history in a bigger way, but it won't happen right on that day. That's one thing to keep in mind. So don't think of great or powerful things to happen on that very day. It will be actually most likely a very quiet energy overall, because it's the planting of seeds time. As new moons always are, so the solar eclipse with the moon exactly coming in front of the sun, this is naturally a very powerful solar eclipse new moon. So now let's get into the comet a little deeper, and I just want to again give you a little bit of historic background here. So before 1812, as we read here in Wikipedia, it was already reported in 1385, 1457, and goes back actually to 245 CE sightings which have been related to this regularly every 70 years returning comet. So you can read here the full thing. Super exciting. So it's nothing new under the sun. This is the first thing to take note of. So now let's get into the astrology, and I'm really excited to give you a little bit of the insights of what I came up here. So it was discovered on July the 12th, 1812, which in the Mayan calendar is one Chikchan. That is the red magnetic snake. The red magnetic celestial snake, actually. This is the full name of that day in the Mayan calendar, which makes total sense from what I see in this little body's energy. But I give you the conclusion in a minute. First, I want to really show you the astrological signature here. Now, how did I come up with this time? Okay, yes, I did rectify it. There's no time indicated when Pons was discovering it. However, it's pretty easy. It's not a big job really, because you see, it has to happen sometime after sunset. So the sun has to be really down, and most likely it didn't happen while the moon was above horizon, because that would have made it much more difficult to 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 not be distracted by the bright light of the moon. Yes, it's a small waxing moon, but still most likely after sunset. Now I did a rectification, and the rectification I did was using other data points, particularly the second discovery. So I'll show you right away. I jump ahead to this chart. So outside you see the second discovery. Actually, I should quickly, well, no, let's just stay here for a minute. So on September the 2nd, 1883, and actually this is a story which I want to recall and let you know too. That was a famous, well, not yet famous at this point, but I don't know if you can read this, but this is Dr. Brooks. The greatest triumph Dr. Brooks has achieved in discovering comets, and again, Brooks and Pons both are the two big names in asteroid discoveries. Actually, Pons discovered 37 comets, many of them periodic ones, which return ever so often. And Brooks discovered 27. So these are the two main names in the comet discovery world, if you want to say. So perhaps the greatest triumph Dr. Brooks, and he was in Phelps in New York State, has achieved in discovering comets was on a September night, September the 2nd it was, as we know, in 1883, when he caught the first glimpse of the returning comet of 1812, which had been discovered by Pons. Its period is 71 years, nearly equal to that of Halley's famous comet, and astronomers in all parts of the world were on the watch for its return. So they actually were starting to seriously look up for that comet already 3 years prior, because nobody exactly knew the period that comet would have. Yet the comet eluded them all, except the silent enthusiast of the Red House Observatory. So he had built his own observatory, and he accomplished this from his small apple orchard in Phelps in New York. I thought this was really an interesting story. So anyway, why do I come up with the time? Well, you see here is outside now. You see the transits, so to say, to the original discovery chart insights on September the 2nd, on that night, which is reported for Brooks to had the second discovery, the rediscovery, and it makes total sense that Uranus would be at the seventh house cusp of this original discovery chart, meaning this was the day when it made sense to be discovered. There's many other coincidences here. Also, you see there's also a waxing new moon here, and here we have it here. Let me just look up what other coincidences there are. Well, it would go too far to line them up all, but let's look at the charts now. And well, I cannot fully guarantee that these charts are correct, but it makes total sense from all the research I have done. So first of all, we have, and let's not focus too much on the time, as this is definitely a questionable, but what I see here most standing out is this South Node Chiron conjunction, bridging from late Aquarius to early Pisces. This is a powerful conjunction, and this shows, as always the South Node does, what we have in abundance, what this comet brings us in abundance. And Chiron naturally is health, healing, getting to the bottom of the pile. We are having a great expertise with the addition of this comet's energy to resolve issues. And as you know, this is at present the conjunction of Chiron and the North Node, as we have through these months in Aries. That is a transit of our times. So this totally fits in. This actually brings the resources to accomplish the task. Then the really big structure here is that grand trine, as you see. And Jupiter and Uranus is involved. Surprise, surprise. There is a Pluto Sedna conjunction. Again, one of these alignments of our present time, which are super powerful, is a trine, a 120 degree aspect between those two. So again, this matches, this resonates with this basic energy of this comet. And it's definitely, I mean, comets always are a special addition of an energy which is usually not present. They're kind of a bonus. That's why everybody is so interested in this comet. So naturally, you all have heard the name the Devil's Comet. Yes, somebody came up with that and it caught on. As always, when it's something which potentially can upset people or create fears, then this is what is definitely promoted. Anyway, because at some point it had one of these gyrovolcanic eruptions and then produced some kind of horns. At least that was the interpretation which was posted. And a friend who did leave a comment under my Facebook post actually said she also heard it was called the Mother of Dragons, and I do like that one, particularly resonating with the Chiksha and the celestial snake energy, which is all about connecting to our instinctual self and knowing, connecting with our basic universal instructions which are coming out of nature, our roots in this big frequency band of the natural world. That is where this energy is plugging in, all that celestial snake energy. So I wrote here, this comet's energy functions as an activator, accelerating an otherwise much more time-consuming evolution, a catalytic agent. This is further magnified, and again, this has to do with my rectification. I admit to that, but if this chart holds true, the galactic center is here at the helm, which is all about unity consciousness and kind of the plugging into that cosmic field of frequencies, reuniting with that world which we have been separated from. The Pisces rising sign, naturally very subversive in a way, you could say, undercover, and then all that fifth house stellium, I would call that here, Jupiter, Sun, Mars, Mercury. So first of all, yes, this is Sun, Jupiter, Mars conjunction, and naturally this explains in a big way those gyrovolcanic eruptions, those big fireworks this comet produces at irregular times. However, in the fifth house too, this resonates with Leo energy and is all about taking action and getting into our power. So this comet is truly empowering us in a big way. Now the next thing, the moon, and the moon is pretty much unquestionable in one of these degrees. It could be maybe a degree further or farther or lesser, but this is the 10th degree of Virgo, and those of you who follow my recordings know that this degree has been charged up quite a bit just lately with that big solar flare on, I guess it was the 28th of March, very recently, which also was where Juno and the moon was at the time. So this 10th degree of Virgo is super interesting to start with, and the moon always is the one which, because it changes so fast, it's very important in its meaning. And that 10th degree is two heads looking out and beyond the shadows, again from the Sabian symbols, as interpreted by Dane Rudyard. The growth of true understanding, born out of the transcendence of duality, even while immersed in the world of duality. Very, very deep this is. And it really shows that we are given a great help to overcome all kinds of divisions which are put on us. The mind operates inevitably in this world of conflicts, oppositions, and duality. Yet when the opposites realize that they are complementary aspects of the one reality, which sustains and encompasses all dualistic modes of existence, that's the moment when we are able to look away from internal conflicts and beyond the shadows these conflicts generate. This is the basic frequency here. And now, if we go to the second discovery, and this is really how it works. You see, now this time, this is 1883, Brooks, having been waiting for the comet to appear, he's the one who finds it, and where we go, the sun is at 10 degrees 13 here in Virgo, just the next degree up. So it makes sense that there's an evolution here naturally going on, bringing the energy to the next stage. And this chart definitely shows that. Also Jupiter here at the bottom of the chart. And I thought I showed you this one here on the side. What was the new moon prior to Brooks Comet's rediscovery? That was exact on this September the 1st, the fourth night, just a day prior. And I found it super, super interesting that Jupiter was here dead on in the center of the sky over Phelps, New York, over Brooks' hometown. And Palace, which is all about science and discoveries and understanding the patterns and all of that, very much that mental energy of scanning and having a very deep look into what reality shows us on the mental plane. On the seventh house cusp, I mean, it can't be more beautiful. It's really how the universe works. There's always, everything makes perfect sense when you have the ability to really deeply zoom in into what is going on. So this was the day before, so setting the stage for this discovery to occur. And now okay, let's just jump ahead a bit here before we go back again. Juno was discovered on September the 1st, 1804. And guess what, where the sun is in Juno's discovery chart? I mean, you can't make that stuff up. That was the degree Juno was in, just in that last solar flare conjunct the moon. So was a true activation of Juno energy. It is that bonding together, that understanding that we are all deeply connected, all of humanity. And the more we honor that, it's really like the water. The water is what links everything together. It is quantum entanglement. There's many ways to explain that. This is coming back into our consciousness, into our conscious experience, into our reality, and this will override all divisions eventually. That is the direction we're going, and that's what that latest solar flare has been working on in the same way. So it's really a concerted effort, goes all in the same direction, all about that ability to bridge divisions. Now let me just go back again. At any time, I actually encourage you to stop the video and maybe take screenshots of those charts, go back to them, or if it's too much in one day to digest it all this information I'm throwing at you, then just take a break and zoom when you have again a fresh mind. So let's go back here to the second discovery chart once more. The moon this time is in a conjunction here with Uranus, and if we overlay the two charts once more, then you see that Jupiter is in the same sign when the comet was rediscovered, so that Cancer energy is super important. Cancer is again the sign of plugging into the roots, connected to our history, to where we're coming from, all the ancestors, and all that memory is stored in the sign of Cancer, a very, very deep sign of cosmic memory, the Akashic records, you could call it too if you want. So in the synastry here, yes, okay, look at Juno here. And I mean, I only discovered this after I did the charts and overlaid them. This just happens to be that Juno at the rediscovery day in 1983 was at 2625. Gemini, which, yes, is somewhat of a confirmation that the time I have chosen is accurate. The other one which blew my mind was when I did the midpoint chart between the two discoveries, which would make sense, kind of as the name Pons-Brooks implies. It's a combined effort of two different astronomers, two different discoveries, to really nail down that comet exactly, to distinguish its orbit and such. And that midpoint chart, I mean, you can't make that thing up, has Jupiter exactly in midheaven and also in Cancer, which means it's a basically very expansive energy this comet brings in. And Jupiter always also is connected with change, with evolution, with expansion. And with Hygeia here, together, Hygeia naturally is about health, well-being, and reconnecting to our natural roots. So let's see. Okay, there's a few other things which I wanted to mention. So let's go back to this one here. So in the first discovery, we had a South Node Chiron conjunction, which I just talked about. And in the second discovery, we have Chiron and the South Node in an exact 30-degree angle. 327, 336, here you see it. 30 degrees is kind of a sibling energy. You have a body to help to work with, which slightly looks at things from a different angle, and in that sense strengthening your position. Again, a very kind of Juno thing of doing things as a team. That's what the 30-degree angle, in my opinion, is. Again, with the South Node, which is about what we already have integrated. Also, Pluto and Sedna here, the two which have a conjunction here in the first discovery, have a pretty dead on, well, not that exact, but it is a sextile. It's definitely within range. And if we do the midpoint between the two, we get pretty close to the nodal axis, which amplifies this aspect naturally. Then yes, I mentioned the moon's phase both times. It's a waxing new moon about a couple days after new moon. The second time, two in 1883, a waxing moon. Both times the moon in Virgo. Actually, the second moon here is exactly conjunct the vertex point of the first discovery chart. Vertex meaning the higher dimensional direction this energy wants to express itself. So it's again kind of a moving up a level from 1812 to 1883. One other little detail is that a week prior to the second discovery of 1883, a week prior on August the 26th, 1883, Krakatau exploded, which is the biggest seismic volcanic eruption we had in our recorded history, you could say, at least the last few hundred or even thousand years. It was blowing a whole island up, and that big boom was heard for 3,000 miles away from the site where it happened in the South Pacific. And the volcanic dust and whatever debris was hanging in the atmosphere over Earth for 3 years. The climate was much cooler than it was before. So this was a huge seismic event just 1 week prior to the comet's rediscovery. Interesting that the day, August 26, 1883, also was a Chikchan day. So the rediscovery was actually then on another day. I guess it was Lammat, when I'm not mistaken, which relates to recognizing the beauty of something which you have been waiting for. The recognition today actually is also a Lammat day, so it makes sense to talk about this subject to start with. Actually, today is a 12th Lammat day as I'm recording this, which is April the 6th. And the number 12 actually pops up quite a bit in that planets, that comet's discovery. You see it as here in the name 12P. And then it is the 12th day in the year 1812. So 12 is the number of crystallization. Today is the yellow crystal star in the Mayan calendar. Okay, I showed you this chart already. Now when we overlay all the three charts inside the first discovery, center wheel the second discovery, outside the midpoint between the two, just want to quickly show you this. And let me see what I wanted to point out here mainly. Well, never mind. I don't remember what I wanted to point out here, but that's okay. So we have now Juno's discovery chart. And again, why do I bring up Juno? Because Juno stands out in the discovery charts um, of this comet. So there seems to be a deep resonance between the two. Also, that 10th degree of Virgo, which we talked about, that bridging of all divisions coming to a deeper place where these things do not matter, where it's really not important if your friend has a different opinion about things or believes something totally which you think would be hilarious or even stupid. You don't give that too much credit to start with. There's a deeper layer which bonds us really, and these are superficialities. We don't give them too much attention. political view, religion, race, gender, you name it, all these superficialities where people get stuck on. That's what's coming to an end. We're going deeper, we're going to the core where we really recognize that we are all of the same. We are carrying all the same frequencies of Earth. We are all part of this big natural family, and we are meant to support one another and not fall prey to all these um, intentional attempts to divert us. And as you know, that is how you rule people, how you rule our people. When you put divisions, then they go after each other. So this is where we are going as a collective. This is a great, great turning point we are at historically. If we look at the two charts here, which I overlaid inside, again, the first discovery chart, naturally, which is the no, inside I have Juno now. Okay, that's fine, that's fine. So Juno's discovery is inside, and the Comet's discovery outside. Actually, I want to say a few more words about Juno's chart before we jump ahead, which is all about that basic energy of coming to terms, working with each other and not against each other, understanding that to build a big structure, a temple, whatever, it needs many pillars to hold the roof. That is the idea. If we work together, we can create a big project, something which one single person never can accomplish. So the more we are working in sync, in coherence with each other, that is what this chart is showing. I really like that opposition Pluto to the Sun. This is the challenge, to not abuse our power and to blend in, to really see that whomever we're looking at is our mirror. And when we play power games, that this comes right back at us. Also, Palace here. So this is helping us to realize, to see the patterns in Pisces, which is the sign of unity to start with. So there is this unity to diversity thing going on between these two signs. Also beautiful, the Mercury Saturn conjunction here in Libra, in a square aspect to Mars, which is opposing Chiron. So this shows that yes, there is debate. We have to work out our differences, and we have to really, first of all, to go deep within our mind and do the research, to go dive to the bottom. That is that Saturn Mercury, very sincere, earnest energy. And then the Mars Chiron, yes, this is working it all out, getting the issues resolved. Venus at the south node, love is what bonds us. This is what it all boils down back to. The moon in Leo too. Here a very late balsamic moon, which shows this is something which is just about to get fully integrated. The late balsamic moon is that mature energy of understanding has gone through a big cycle already, coming back to new moon, whereas the emerging new moon, as the comet's signature is, this is kind of fresh into something totally new, emerging and full of that spirit of discovery and of coming to know what we have not seen yet. So yes, this, and let's now go back quickly to the overlay of the two charts to show you the resonance again between the comet and um, Juno in a bigger way. What stands out is that their ascendant descendant axes are exactly square. Such a complement. They fill each other in, so that comet is definitely working together with Juno as a team, you could say. Saturn chimes in here, further strengthening this structure. Then I didn't even mention Juno yet here in its own discovery chart. So actually, this is really what completes the structure. You see, we were just talking about before. Juno in Aries, yes, ready to go in with a fresh mind, totally new, just clearing the slate and let the past be what it was and start from afresh every day. That's kind of the way, actually the best approach. Anyway, with life, get things resolved the moment they happen, and then move on. Have all the availability of your powers focused in the now to do what is necessary and let whatever has been happening behind you resolved, fully dealt with. And if there's anything which has not been dealt with, then yes, then we are usually having to go back and resolving it. But once we have done that, then that is a great yeah, it really unties all our energies if we have that ability to resolve everything and leave it behind. I did the midpoint chart between the comet's first discovery, which naturally is the most important, and the Juno discovery. Now, this is an interesting next step I'm taking here. You see, look at the angles of this chart. And if we go into the chart of Monday's eclipse over Greenwich, at the peak, the center of the eclipse, you have exactly the same angles. I found that pretty neat, pretty amazing. So it shows that really this solar eclipse coming up on Monday is all about this theme of overcoming divisions and working together on a much deeper layer, leaving behind all the superficialities and understanding we are all human, we are all together on this earth ship. And just a little bit about this eclipse. It will be on a 1 day in the Mayan calendar, 1 Oc, which is the white magnetic heart, white magnetic dog is also one of the names for that day sign. The dog as being the loyal heart energy of companionship, of working together. Again, the same theme. Oak is all about that mutual resonance we have with our loved ones, our partners, our family, and this can extend naturally to the global family of including and of honoring, being loyal and honest and straightforward. So very beautiful this match again. Heliocentric, just quickly, that is the eclipse on Monday, and heliocentric, as you know, this is always the essential energy behind. This is the spark of life. We all are breathing constantly. I mean, just what I read this morning about the eclipse, they expect temperatures to fall in the eclipse path as much as 10 to 15 degrees. And it just shows you we are constantly dependent on what's coming in from the sun. As soon as this is even slightly blocked, temperatures fall immediately. This is the energy we are feeding on, and there is this beautiful big structure, which is a yacht here between Jupiter and Uranus and Saturn and Mercury and Earth. So let me just say a couple words. Well, first of all, it's also Venus here, Venus and Saturn. Venus and Saturn in a 72-degree aspect, which is 72 the number 5, dividing the zodiac in 5 equal parts. The quintile is a creative energy. It's the combination of the 2 and the 3, of the male and the female. And in that sense, it's a balancing principle again, finding the balance. And yes, it's not a yod in the classical sense, it's a quintile by quintile structure here, but it has that same frequency as a yod. It points towards whatever is on the other side, Mercury and the Earth, beautifully flanking the main ascendant here, again, which is tying in with that Juno Comet ascendant, how they work together as a team. Jupiter and Saturn, first of all, as the two big shots here, and in a 72-degree angle, this is the recreation of society, you could say. Jupiter and Saturn are those two big planets which show the dynamic of changes in societies, in economies, how we move along in a very big way in societal evolution. That is a wonderful sign, and that is pretty exact. The Venus-Saturn conjunction is interesting, and it's actually separating. That means the exact conjunction was already a day or two prior, so it's the resolution already which is coming out of that. Venus-Saturn, first of all, is coming to terms with difficult emotions, deep insights into the suffering of what is going on this planet right now, naturally, which is there a lot of. I guess we have to be pushed to that limit of the greater the nightmare is, the easier it is really to wake up out of it. I guess that's to say it in a nutshell. There's also messes here. Yes, it's still, there's a lot going on here in the sign of Pisces, of coming to terms with a difficult reality. Yes, this is a big theme of our times. But the resolution is positive. It is in Libra, the sign of partnership. How could it be? Of, again, finding the common denominator and sharing, openly communicating what is on our mind, on our heart, to clear all which is potentially in the way. Okay, let me see. I don't remember what the last moon. Okay, that is just the one I showed you already. The last chart here. That was that new moon chart prior to Brooks Comet's rediscovery, which shows you Jupiter and Pallas. Okay, I leave it at that. Thank you again for joining and listening. Hopefully the quality was reasonable. And let me just go to this screen where I have to go to end the recording. So love you all. Thank you for being here. Bye bye.